Welcome everybody to the MiniMapCast. This is your bi-weekly source of gaming news, questions and impressions from minimap.com.au. My name is Kerry Palmer. Joining me in video format is Jeremy Bratatich.
I like how at the beginning of the podcast I was like, oh, I've got to make sure not to put my mouse in front of the screen because it records a mouse, and the first thing I did was just go across the screen with my mouse, so that's really good.
And also joining us is June Williams.
Good morning.
We are here in Technicolor and an amount of frames per second of which I will not try to describe because it could be variable.
Panavision.
Because we are just finished with our PS5 showcase live reactions. So much has happened in the last 2 weeks. That it even prompted us to start doing video stuff, and we were doing this a few hours ago for the PS5, so we figured why not do this for the podcast as well. So here we are. If you are listening on audio, this is just going to be the same thing as usual. But yeah, aside from that, let's kick into it. First thing, the music you're listening to for the intro there throughout the rest of this podcast as well is from Shook. Thank you so much for letting us use that song, which is the Moog Model B Improv, and you can find more of Shook's music at shook.bandcamp.com. If you want to find things that we work on, you can go to minimap.com.au to find our articles, our podcasts. I'm sure we'll be putting the VOD up of the live reactions that we just did. You can also find that on our YouTube account, which best place to find all of our stuff that we've been doing the last few days is on the Twitter. That's at MiniMapAU. So that'll have the links to the VOD, the Twitch stream where it happened if you want to watch it on Twitch. The link for the podcast is going to go up there. That's the best way to find it right now. And if you want to support the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/minimapau if you want to throw us a few bucks. But let's kick into it. There's a bunch of news to get through, but we're gonna get to that in the second half of the show. We've got a bit of a shorter front half though, so won't be too long before we get to the very meaty section, like the release date and price of both the Xbox consoles and both of the PlayStation 5 consoles. So we'll be talking about that in the second half of the show. But to start off with, let's talk about Marvel's Avengers. Again. Finally, though. Like, it's no longer a hypothetical situation. It's here. We've played the game, and we can talk about it. I got this game at launch because Jeremy got it at launch, and if we were going to play together, I knew it was going to be only when Jeremy got it, and then probably never again. Yep. So I've been playing it, but I know we've spoken about this game a lot, but what was your interest level for this game, June? Was it just not at all in your camp, or?
I mean, I'd play it if I could have it for free, maybe. But nah, I don't know. I'm not that interested. I don't really care that much. I do like Marvel, but only for 2 characters, so it's fine.
Yep.
I don't care.
Fair enough. So, Jeremy, what is your capital I impression of this game now that we've had it in our hands?
It's okay. It's better than I thought it was going to be. I still don't really know how I feel about it. I think I'm maybe a third way through the story, it feels like. You've beaten it, haven't you?
I beat the game a couple of nights ago, yes.
You know where I'm up to. I'm at the anthill. I'm like
at the anthill,
yeah.
I'd say you're like just shy of half.
Oh, really? Wow, okay.
Yeah, more or less. Like, I think I say that because there's like 1 or 2 instances where the story content is like play a couple of missions to just get a few resources and stuff like that.
Oh boy.
It's only like 30 minutes of doing that, but what I'm saying is like it's not like you've got so much authored content in front of you. You've got like half the game's authored content, but that time is a little bit filled out with the gameplay in there as well.
How long is the actual game to finish, Kerry?
I think I played about 10 or 12 hours, honestly. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't give you too much to do on the side. I found myself, because I streamed it once and I was playing on my own. And there was a time where I was like, oh, I'm just going to play the story because I'm playing it on my own to get through the start. And then I was like, oh, I just want to get through the side missions. And I'd do side missions for like 20 or 30 minutes, and then I'd be like, well, I've done all the ones I can do. The others are too high level. I guess I'm just doing the story. Like, it doesn't give you that much room to like branch off the story when you're in the actual reassemble campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah, the leveling is pretty slow when you're in the main Avengers campaign too. Like, you get to like gear level like 25 or so by the end of the campaign. But the gear level goes up to like 130. So I think they really just unlock it for you once you go into the main multiplayer suite, which they call Avengers Initiative.
Yeah, I don't know. Like a lot of
so 10 to 12 hours for the campaign is the answer to your question. Sorry.
a lot of the. So I was saying to Kara earlier this week that this game reminds me a lot of the first Destiny game. In the sense that like I'm doing missions and I'm doing the story. I'm much more clear about the story in Avengers than I am in Destiny 1, because the Destiny 1 story is like really loose in terms of like what you're actually supposed to be doing, like narratively. But the Destiny 1 missions, I don't remember any of them. They don't leave any impression on me. I sure do punch a lot of people and shoot them with my repulsor blasts. But if you had asked me something that happens in a mission that isn't a cutscene, I couldn't fucking tell you a single thing. And that is kind of like, I don't like that. Like I want the combat to feel like, or like I want the mission structure and the combat to feel like I'm doing something like meaningful, as opposed to, hey, look, we're going to go here. Hey, look, there's a bunch of AIM agents. Go take them out, because they're just always there. There's not a whole lot of variety in the enemy types. It's just like the ones that shoot, the ones that are there, and the bigger ones that punch you. And then a boss thrown in here and there. I have major issues with some of the voice acting, mainly Troy Baker as Hulk. I do not like Troy Baker as Banner, mostly because the rest of the game is so comical and fun. Kamala is a fucking delightful character, and I like want to protect
hands down
her
the best part of that game.
Yeah,
just the best part of that game.
Yeah, like 100%. She's got a really good opening intro to the game, and it's really nice. And it's one of those things where it's like, hey, why the fuck didn't they show this when they were showing off what the game is? Because this game is a Kamala-driven story, and the fucking marketing does not tell you that at all.
No, it doesn't. Because they want you. Because Miss Marvel isn't in the MCU, and they want people from the MCU who like it to be like, oh, I like the Avengers, I'll buy that.
Yeah, but then the Avengers they give you is like oh, we have Avengers at home, and it's like these guys.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Can I just say that initial the starting mission, the start of the game, like I actually shed a tear. Like I don't do that in games, and like it just
apart from Oddsworld.
Well, that is just like that's like shut down in fear, but we'll get to that. Like
yeah, it was really sweet. It was really nice.
It's really well done. Like it's so well done.
But yeah, like I think Troy Baker is incredibly like he's a very, very good actor, obviously, and is very good at playing roles. And this is not the right role for him, and it's not the right role for this Bruce Banner, because he's really subtle, he's really meek, he's really like nervous, and he's very he's like going through like stages of grief and shock. And Thor is like, I am the mighty one. And Kamala's like, oh my god, Avengers. And Troy Banner has just got this fucking like this really upsetting thing that he's fighting with these inner demons and stuff, and I'm like, this is just so out of place in this game. I do not like what it feels like overacting when it's not. It's just a good performance, but it's overacting compared to everything else, which is Saturday morning cartoons.
I think that's a good point in that it is like in comparison to everything else it is overacting, but honestly because the rest of it is so schlocky, I kind of don't mind that there is a hint of like very emotive, somewhat nuanced acting and voice and voice acting and stuff like that. I kind of don't mind that it's in there. I think I would be more disappointed with the game if Hulk was if Banner was very stereotypical Banner on top of the most boring Thor I've ever seen.
Well,
like,
I mean, it's like that, but like everybody's very like that. Like, I mean, like that's like it's a very comic book Thor. Like, there's not a lot of depth to him. And you know, Cap is Cap. Everybody knows what Captain America is like, and this is like a good Captain America. Like I feel like they should have learned from. I'm going to keep going back to it. The Spider-Man game, where everybody is their like natural feeling comic book like antithesis of the character. You know, Norman Osborn in the Spider-Man game was quite, you know, like a sleazy politician, but he was still somewhat menacing. But he wasn't like, you know, struggling with his inner demons or anything like that, right? Like no one had those really subtle, too nuanced moments. Everyone was just the character.
Except that fight, except those like cutscenes in basically the last hour of that game. Those cutscenes destroy me. That was good acting at the end of that game.
Yeah, I mean those felt earned.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's fine. I'll beat it. I don't know what legs it has. I don't know. Like, are they doing, you know, do they release DLC chapters for a long time? I mean, like, that's the plan, right? Like, that's the leaked information is the characters coming later. Like, Kate Bishop and Hawkeye and Spider-Man are the ones that are, like, confirmed. And the leak was Black Panther, Captain Marvel, and... She-Hulk, yeah.
There were so many. They leaked, like, there was, like, 10. I think Doctor Strange was in there.
Yeah.
Would you go back if they were to release... Will you go back and play it for the DLC?
I'll try Spider-Man.
I personally will go... Sorry.
I'll try Spider-Man and I'll watch trailers for the rest, but I doubt it. Unless they really interested me. Like I don't get to play as Doctor Strange in games often. That could be cool, but...
I personally... It depends on the length of the campaign missions that they add. If it's like one 30-minute mission, I'll probably just go back to it like once a year and do it all at once. If it's like 2 to 3 hours, I can't see it being that much content. At least not that much authored content. But if it's a sizable chunk of campaign missions for each new character, I'll give it a go when they release. If it's like 2 to 3 hours of content for each character, absolutely, I'll jump in. I'll be more than happy to. Honestly, this game's biggest strength is its campaign. I have done no multiplayer yet since getting the full game, but playing the campaign is when I enjoy it the most. And honestly, I think a lot of it is the cutscenes pulling it together and the story. And it's not an Infinity War Endgame kind of blow your, like, just kind of make you think about things a little bit and make you feel things that much. It doesn't do that much. And that's fine. It knows that, I know that. But it's more than good enough. It's more than good enough for what it needs to do to pull me through that game. Which is great. I was surprised by that. I thought it was going to be really sucky, but no, it was perfectly good. And you know, while we were saying that Troy Baker's Banner is a little overacted in comparison to the other voice actors, that's not to say that their performances and their lines and their characters are not interesting at all. I think the way there are certain character interactions at different points, and the way they're all performed, I think. And seeing Kamala get to have like her own moment with each of the Avengers a lot of the times is really sweet, and it's plenty rewarding enough to pull me through the game. Something that's really interesting is like your home base is the Chimera, the helicarrier, and it's decommissioned when you get to it after the events of the San Francisco Bridge, and it's really cool because you see the Chimera gets like rebuilt as the campaign goes along. That's part of what your thing is. So it's like more rooms open up. There are more people floating around. Eventually, some SHIELD agents, you know, come on board. And the weather's different. And there's like this, you know, like 3/4 of the way through, there's like oh no, something's happened and like something bad has happened. And the weather outside in the outside of the Chimera is like it's like a lightning storm, and it's dark and it's cloudy and it's thundering, and no one's left in the ship. It's just Kamala walking around, and the way they play with the setting of that works really well.
Yeah.
My biggest annoyance, my biggest problem with this game is difficult content, specifically when I'm playing by myself. And I think the reason that is because the AI isn't strong enough in terms of it's either not competent enough or it's not able enough to do things like the objectives that you have to look after. So when you're playing by yourself and you're doing content that is stronger level than you, or you're doing the like augmented reality room, like 5th challenge, like the hardest challenge, it sucks. It just sucks. Like playing the hard content in that game by yourself means that all of the enemies focus on you. You don't. It's hard to tell when enemies are off screen when you're about to be attacked, and that happens a lot in this game. It doesn't matter as much when you're not playing the hard content because it doesn't hit as hard. But when you are playing the hard content, you're getting hit for like a quarter of your health if you're not paying attention, and it's not easy. It's not easy enough to notice all of that damage that you're going to get from off screen. So endgame content just feels too punishing. I imagine once you get, and I remember when Jeremy and I played a couple of missions that were above our pay grade in the beta, but
that was really fun because I was really stupid.
It was, right? And we just kept like reviving each other and picking each other up and picking the other one up and picking the other one up. When you're playing solo, you have like 3 downs and then you're dead and you like respawn and you like restart from the beginning. It's like, oh man, what the hell? Like, why did you even let me go down in the first place? If we're playing with each other, we can pick each other up, but also the enemies won't just try and focus on me. They will have 3 other player characters to focus on. And all of those player characters will be able to split up the objectives, stand on the point so I'm not on my own, or take out the ranged characters while I'm dealing with the ground characters. Like, it feels like it's not that the AI's bad, but it's just not equipped to handle endgame content.
I mean, neither's the performance on the PlayStation either, honestly. Like, the game, like, struggles a bit, and then, like, the frame rate will drop, and then it'll be like, hey, what if we just doubled the enemy count?
Yes.
And then the game's like,
there are definitely...
have fun!
I hit slideshow status in this game a couple of times. It never crashed, and it never got to a slideshow to the point where I like restarted the mission or anything like that. Like I could keep fighting through it, but it was like N64 frame rate. It was really bad for just probably once every 3 hours or something like that. There's a scene like that. There's a lot of things in this game that I really hate. And it's a lot of like really bizarre design choices. There's stealth sections for no reason, randomly placed, and they're dumb and useless, where you're just like walking slowly and crouching behind cover, and then moving to the next location. And it doesn't do anything. It doesn't make me like, I don't enjoy the stealth section, and it doesn't make me like stop and think about anything. There's a really weird thing where like strong characters can break through walls. But the entire game is designed to be the world is accessible by everybody. So, like, even if you can't fly, Black Widow's got a grappling hook. Kamala throws out her fist and then stretches up or whatever. But there are these strong walls that only a handful of characters can break through. And behind it is nothing useful. It's just like a chest with like a piece of loot inside of it. But it still gets pointed out to you though, even if you can't unlock the door.
Yeah, it lets you know like, hey, there's a thing there. But like, if you're playing as Iron Man, which I do frequently because he's my favorite character to play in that game, like, sucks for you. You don't get to go in there. And also, like that's the only time in the game where like you're locked out of something like by the character.
There's one more.
Oh, what is it?
Black Widow can access like AIM terminals.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got like access codes. So occasionally that door, instead of being one that you punch open as Hulk, Kamala, or Thor, is like one that you have to like be Black Widow to operate, to turn on. And so that one doesn't work if you're not Black Widow.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
The loot.
I mean, the idea is like you play with people, like, because your AI can't do it, which is that's bad.
Also,
the AI
dumb.
should be able to do it for you.
Yeah, or you should be able to tell the AI, "Hey, break this."
Exactly. But the idea is you play with other people and they do it for you, right? That's the idea. But it just locks you out of content, and it's not fun.
Also, like the gear.
I mean, I say content. It locks you out of getting another blue like chest piece. You know, like that you'll probably dismantle.
Which is probably my biggest complaint. Is like, well, it's like, it's just like, why the fuck is there gear in this game? That it doesn't do anything to you. It's never cosmetic. You can never see any gear that you change. So it's not like Destiny where you can like, hey, I really like this set of armor. I'm gonna dress up this set of armor. Or change the color of this costume or whatever, because there's like a plethora of costumes that probably got the big A-OK from Disney being like, yes, you can make this character look like this, because they probably had approval and rejection over literally every aspect of the game. But there's a gear thing, which all it does is you got 4 slots of gear.
The numbers go up.
Yeah, you got 4 slots of gear in each character, and it determines like how strong you are, and there's a button to just equip the strongest piece of gear, which is the only button I ever use in that section, because why would I not? And then you can upgrade gear with the one of many, many currencies in that game. And the entire system feels like something that was made for a different version of this game, which then they didn't have time to take out and work.
Honestly,
there's a lot of that.
I kind of like the gear. I never use that auto-equip button, so every time I go through, I'm like, okay, dismantle this. Oh, that's a stronger level. Okay, put that on. Oh, upgrade it one more to upgrade the next perk. And then, what's it? It's enough of a silly thing to get me excited to go from each glowing piece of armor that drops from an enemy or something like that. I know it's entirely superficial, because I'll get a stronger one in 20 minutes anyway.
You have the automate button. Like, you have the button to do it for you.
Which I never used.
Why?
Because I enjoyed going through it piece by piece. I was like, oh, I enjoy this. I'm just going to keep doing this. And I knew it was there, so I was like... I knew that button was there, but I also knew that it had been annoying you. And more than that, I knew I was enjoying going through it one by one. So I was like, oh, if I'm enjoying this, I'm just going to keep it going. Like, honestly, doing it that way is enough for me to keep playing. I want to keep playing, having beaten the story. And there are more missions that unlock afterwards. Shield protocol missions and vaults and stuff like that, and I want to see what those are all about, and I want to get a character higher level. I want to upgrade all of their skill trees a bit more and get more of an extended moveset with all their characters, because you can the skill trees in this game that are incredible. There are so many of them. like for each character you have like 3 pages of skill tree. And they start veering into specializations. It's wild. So yeah, I think the customization is enough for me. I would agree that if I had been using that auto-equip button, it would have removed its
it has no purpose.
Validity.
I don't understand if it's in that game if the button is like automated, because as far as I can tell, there's a very, very small chance of me wanting to use a weaker piece of gear. It's usually just for like a resistance to an enemy type, but like, I don't care. I don't care.
Some of the gold armors do have more specialized perks, similar to exotics. Not all of them do, but some of them do. So you would want to hang on to those. But yeah, you're right. The stronger number beats that out in the end. So yeah, I think it's a good game. I think it's good. I think when it's cheaper, it's worth getting the story. I don't think it's worth full price for the story. But honestly, I like take $20 off, and I think it is worth it. Honestly, the story's totally fine if you're up for just a schlocky, perfectly competently acted, competently mechanicked. Like the combat's good enough. Like it's good enough. Is what that game is. So I think 25% off and that game's worth it for me. That's my opinion on it.
Get that game when it's $40 Australian. That's for me. It's a 6 out of 10. I'm so sick of games as a service games coming out with me going, it might be good one day. I'm over that. I'm over that fucking thing.
And then, Jeremy, you just had a couple of other things that you've been playing. I've mostly just been playing that and streaming a bit. So what else have you been playing?
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remake. It's very good. This game is really good.
How much have you played of it? I didn't remember how to play Tony Hawk, so I had to like relearn basically.
I've done about 4 or 5 levels. And I had to basically relearn how to play Tony Hawk, which, like, my experience with that franchise is basically just Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4, mostly 4, because my cousin gave it to me, which was good because that game was really cool. It's got Jango Fett in it.
The coolest Star Wars character.
Hey, he's got a jetpack and he can use it as a trick. And also, if you turn on the auto trick button in that as a cheat, you go up and up and up through like the skybox, and then you like deload the level. It's really great. Anyway, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 is such a fucking good remake. It feels so good. Like, it's so quick. It's so snappy. And arcadey without it being too fake feeling. It feels like what I imagined people playing this game for the first time way back when those games came out were feeling, which is like, hey, this game is so good. Like, it is wild to me how good this fucking game is. I don't know how to, like, I desperately want to be really good at Tony Hawk. I have not a single interest in skating. I have never ridden a skateboard in my life. I have never asked for a skateboard. I didn't listen to skater music or care about skater culture. But oh my god, do I want to be good at Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Hey, that's a sign of a great game, right? If you want to be great at it.
It's a fucking fantastic game. You feel so rewarded when you do like a really good combo. And my combos are not really good. Like, I've seen people online. Like, people are getting like, 100,000 at least points in a combo. And I'm like lucky if I get 10,000. But like, when I get like a combo that's really good for me, I feel so good. And every time I make a mistake, I'm like, oh, that's what I should have done instead of that. Oh, I can, and then so I tried again, and I might get it right, but I still might not get it right because like my timing is still off. Yeah, this game is so good. It looks really great too. It sounds really good. There's a couple of little tweaks to the game, which I, like, one of my favorite ones, honestly, is when you like crash, you'd like lay on the ground, and then it plays like a VHS like a rewind effect, and then you like appear back on your skateboard again.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really cool, and it's got like a scratching sound when you respawn. I
thought every sound effect in that game was a scratching sound.
A little bit, and it works so well. All the music is really great. There's a ton of really great songs in there. Some good ska, some really good ska. And like the levels are really, really fun. They're so well put together. There's so much opportunity in the levels to do different combos in different areas. And each level's got like different objectives. Like the school level has got wall ride 7 of the fire bells and grind across 5 of the different like lunch seats. And then like the warehouse is like go through the like go over the helicopter, and then you'll unlock a little area at the back or whatever. That game is sick. That game is so cool.
Do you find that you can play it more than like an hour or 2 at a time?
I have, because there's so much variety in levels. Like you need to do maybe like 6 objectives per level to get to the next one. And then they're never like, some of them, like there are like the more advanced objectives. But after you go through the level like 4 or 5 times, you start to really pick up where everything is, like where everything is in the layout of everything. The first 2 or 3 times I go through a level, I sort of aimlessly go around doing a little bit of every objective, which means I get nothing done and I have to restart at the end of the 3 minutes. But I get a feel for everything, and I start to create the map in my head of where each objective is and the best place to do certain things. And then when I get sick of a level, I'll just go on to the next one. And then if I get sick of that level that I haven't completed enough objectives for, then I'll just swap to Tony Hawk 2. And then I've got another string of levels I can go through again. Mm-hmm. It's very good. Vicarious Visions do really good remakes. And I'm glad that they have had the opportunity to do both Crash and this. So it's really good.
Yeah, who would have thought that some of the most faithful remakes of this generation would be coming out of Activision?
Yeah, right? Like, I mean, I saw people on Twitter being like, hey, maybe Activision should have been the one to do the Mario remake.
Oh,
Which is like,
zing.
that's a dirty word, but also like,
Oh, could you imagine?
Yep, Twitter would have imploded again.
And then, did you all want to talk about Void Train before before we spin out here?
So PAX is happening right now. PAX is really weird, and I have thoughts about PAX, but I'll save that for next week. Next time. But I've been getting like a bunch of emails from developers showing off their game, and one that piqued my interest was a game called Void Train, which is a very good name for a video game. Void Train is a first-person, it's a survival crafting game, which like everybody has played those, except it is not set on an island, and there are no trees to break. It is set on a train. And that train is in the sky. And the train itself is not really a train. It's like a platform with one of those like old mining carts, so you have to push the lever up and down to make it go forward.
Jeez.
There is also no gravity unless you're on your train. And if you jump off your train, you can fly around, and you've got a tether so you don't go too far. Or in case, for example, you don't hit the brakes and you jump off the train to go get a resource that's floating in the air. This game is really like ethereal. Like it's really it's not an abstract style game, but like the shape of everything and the objects that are in this space are quite abstract. I mean, what's more abstract than a train tracks just going through clouds, right? But it's yeah, like, so you have to like jump off and like fly around and grab like rocks and wood that's just floating in space, and then you go back and you can build shit on your train. And there are these like sky shark fish that will attack you, and you've got a gun because it's a video game and you shoot them. And there's like cooking and upgrades and progression trees and refining materials and stuff like that. Like, it's still a survival game.
What sets it apart?
You're on a train in the sky. Honestly, that goes a long way. I didn't play a whole lot. I think I only played like an hour or two. The game's still in development. So I didn't the onboarding was a little bit rough. And I couldn't figure out how to do some certain things. So I think you can make your cart bigger, I believe. But I couldn't figure out how to do that. I don't know. Like it's a pretty looking game, and it's got a really cool setting, and that was enough to at least get me engaged for a couple hours. If that game is complete, I will give that a go at some point.
Cool, sweet. It sounds like a more exciting adventure game than I've heard of in recent memory. June, did you want to touch on anything before we head to the question corner?
I don't think so. I picked up Ring Fit this week for the first time since it came out, because it's been kind of sold out everywhere. And I've been enjoying that, but I don't really have much to say about that at the moment. Maybe next time.
How buff is Drago?
Yeah. I love the whole story. It's so silly, but it makes it, I don't know, it's funny.
It's really whimsical.
I'm enjoying it. It's really cool. It's really, I'm like constantly blown away by how the accessories work. Like, how does it know? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's really neat, and it's been really enjoyable to. I've been looking for an alternative to the gym, because obviously we haven't been able to go out, and nothing's open. So like, I wanted to do exercise that wasn't just going for a run, and I don't have the motivation to do 10 push-ups or 10 sit-ups a night or whatever people do. So this has been good to actually do that kind of stuff while also playing a video game.
Totally.
So it's been good.
Yeah. I think one of Ollie's favorite worlds in the start in terms of the like story and stuff is when you get to Sporter.
Yep, that's my favorite.
I think Jeremy spoke about it recently as well. But yeah, the Sporter and the Sportans. I don't think I've got up to
that. I just met Mr. Hubby.
Yes.
With the smoothies. Yes. It's very good. It's very sweet.
Sweet. Cool. Well, because we're so This podcast is going to be very second half heavy. Let's jump right into the question corner for this week. We'll probably have to go for a break because I imagine we'll need to think about it. Because I think we were talking about before the podcast. But yeah, if we've got answers, we'll go right into it. If we don't, we'll take a quick break. But yeah, for the question of the week, Jude, what is it this week?
If you could play a crossover between 2 gaming franchises, which ones would they be? So what was it? What was the example we had last fortnight? Something stupid.
I came in with the tacky one that they did and that has actually happened, which was Final Fantasy and Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
because they had like a chocobo camel in Assassin's Creed Origins, which is weird because it had 4 legs and chocobos have 2 legs because it's a bird.
It was so ugly.
It was a feathered 4-legged camel. So weird. Yeah,
stuff like that. What would you do?
Yeah, let's take a break because I don't have this one off the top of my head. So when we come back, we'll have your answers and then we'll get right into our jam-packed news section. So yeah, have a think. We will too, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the MiniMapCast. We've been here coming up with many silly amalgamations of gaming franchises from across the years. June, remind us, what is the question for this week?
If you could play a crossover between any 2 gaming franchises, which ones would they be?
This one's hard.
No, it's not.
Oh, sorry. I'm wrong.
Can I go first? Because my answer's not very
please.
good. So
Sure thing.
I'll set the bar really low for you all.
Thank you.
So so it's Uncharted, but instead of pirate treasure, it's cowboy stuff, and it's like cowboy history things.
What?
That's it.
So what's the jackpot? What's the end game? What do they find?
Sam Drake on a horse.
I don't know. Yeah. No, like some kind of fancy gun or I don't know. Money.
Is it like an old wagon that was
Yeah.
really well made?
Carrie, you're so smart. Something like that.
This was my
Something
idea.
cool. Yeah. Well, you can both work together on that one, and I'll test it for you when you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sounds good. I mean, we all know that the ending of the Uncharted games is not necessarily the most important part of the Uncharted games.
Exactly. Imagine how cool the set pieces would be.
They would be pretty
Think
fucking
about it.
sick. Also,
Yeah.
Some
Nate with a
bridges
whip.
that like collapse behind you.
Nate's already like half cowboy anyway, I feel.
I mean, yeah,
He's
he
got-
is.
he's
He's
got
a modern day
he's got-
cowboy.
Yeah.
He's a good indie.
You know that thing where people tried to where they say what's the gender neutral pronoun of not pronoun like title of like a position, and then you're like, just treat it like firefighter, post fighter, police fighter. I like cow fighter.
Cow fighter.
Cow fighter.
I was thinking of like ones you could mix with Red Dead, and I couldn't think of any off the top of my head. As in like Red Dead being like the main core of the game, and then having something else.
Detroit
Yeah.
become cowboy.
Isn't that just Westworld?
Oh, they should make a Westworld game. It should be directed by David Cage.
No, thank you.
They should make a Westworld game though.
They should make a Westworld
They should
game.
do that.
Honestly,
How?
I was just going to say Westworld should have been a Telltale project.
Yes.
Oh, that would have been neat. June. Red Dead. Kingdom Hearts. No? Okay.
No.
Gosh,
Isn't there already a cowboy level in-
bank.
Isn't there already a cowboy? Surely there's a cowboy level in Kingdom Hearts at some stage. Sure, like Woody's World or whatever the fuck.
Well, no, because that's just
it's
a
a
Toy
shopping
Story
mall.
world.
Yeah. There isn't. Oh, I mean, there's no, there isn't. There isn't.
Well,
There's a reason why.
Yeah.
They don't deserve it.
No, they don't. I wholeheartedly agree.
Who's next? Who wants to go?
I left my timer running. Hang on, let me wind that back a little bit. I'll go next. I've got a bunch of like half answers. I don't know how valid these are, but they're just vague ideas I had in my head that came to mind. So I'm just gonna read them off. They're not particularly fleshed out. One of my first ones I thought of was Zelda and Pokemon. Like, everyone wants Breath of the Wild for Pokemon.
Open, yeah.
Like, big open world Pokemon game. I would very much enjoy that. Like, to be in that world. Like, to feel so connected to it in the way that you do in Breath of the Wild, where you light a torch and you walk past the grass and it lights the grass on fire, and electric things get zapped by electricity, and you can also magnetize them. And there's that chemistry thing that they have in their engine that allows the world to feel so real and dynamic. Having that in a Pokemon game would be awesome, especially because, like, I mentioned all that weather stuff because it's a good measure of how Breath of the Wild works. But like Pokemon, you've got fire Pokemon and electricity Pokemon, and ghost Pokemon, and water Pokemon, and grass Pokemon, and all that stuff. So that'd be really cool.
I think Pokemon Sword and Shield, like, they had like fairly large open world areas.
Yes.
Which sort of, I guess, gave you the feel for that a little bit, but I think that would be incredibly cool.
Mm.
Like a fully, properly open world.
Mm. And, like, maybe not turn-based.
I'm trying to imagine how that would work.
Yeah, I can't.
I mean, at that point, it wouldn't be a Pokemon game. But
yeah.
It would have
if
to
it
be
was like, I could see it with like Final Fantasy 13 combat, as in like turn-based, but not really turn-based.
Oh yeah, like active time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how it would work. It's just, that's the pie in the sky. That's the I'm the ideas man, you make it work kind of answer. I also was just thinking, like, Zelda, if I was thinking, like, what do I really enjoy? I really like roguelikes, because I could play them forever and they're really fun and usually very pretty and stuff like that. If I could have, like, a property that I really enjoy, like Zelda, on top of a roguelike, I think I'd really, really enjoy that. I'd be hands down, like 100% sold on, like, a Zelda roguelike. You could say that The Binding of Isaac is inspired by Zelda and stuff like that, but, like, thematically, it's got nothing to do with Zelda. It's about, a kid who's stuck in a basement. Like, and
I want that, like, Cadence of Hyrule looking roguelike game.
Yeah.
That would be so
I was going to say, because, like, that shows you how far the Zelda property can, like, stretch a bit more as well. Like,
yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't done anything like that before.
Well, they've only
like
just started to send out their IPs to allow it to be done for other properties, other studios.
Mm. Well, I mean, Capcom did a couple of Zelda games on the Game Boy that were well received. But they were a while ago. Yeah, I mean, it was the Game Boy. And they didn't break the formula. It was just like another studio making more Zelda games.
Right.
And then a couple of... Was it... I can't remember if it was you or Jeremy who suggested this, but someone when we were thinking before said Assassin's Creed and Just Cause.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what that looks like. I think that's just Assassin's Creed plus a grappling hook, and that sounds radical.
And a wingsuit.
I want that. Well, grappling hook, but not in the same way they use it in Syndicate. That was silly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was not good.
Yes.
More of like a grappling hook from the Marvel's Avengers beats Assassin's Creed.
Stupid.
And the last one I've got here is just The Elder Scrolls meets the Aragon movie game.
Oh my god, Kerry, fucking... we're moving on. Say no more, please.
I want to be in that world.
Yeah, I know. Mine is something... This is 10-year-old Jeremy's dream. Ratchet and Clank and Jak and Daxter together at last.
They're too similar. They're too similar. It would just be... Yeah, I guess.
The thing with that is that they're so similar in some ways and so different in others. Like the tone of like the characters and like the
Not
the
Jack
world.
2, not Jack 3.
Oh, okay. So just the first. Okay, that's a bit that measures a bit.
Jack 2
more.
and Jack 3 are bad games.
Do you just want like... Do you want like the Ratchet and Clank world but with Jack and Daxter in it? Or do you want like mechanics to be crossed over as well?
Like, so because Jack and Daxter is just like... They just jump, right? And he's got eco powers and stuff, but like his powers are just time limits. I think I would want them to have to team up together like a co-op action platformer.
Ooh.
Where you have to it's almost asymmetrical. Like you have to split off and do your own specific parts in certain sections.
Ratchet and Jack and Clank and Daxter.
Yeah.
Clank and Daxter has a ring to it.
Yeah, Clank and Daxter. Yeah. And then the end is the tease, and Sly Cooper steps out of the shadows and he goes, "I'm here. I'm here to talk to you about the PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale initiative."
Except then it turns into Justice League.
Yeah. And my other like pie in the sky crossover would be the Marvel Spider-Man with the Marvel's Avengers. I think
I knew you were going to say it.
Yeah.
It would be really...
That's kind of like an obvious.
It would be
surely.
really, really great if... Imagine if they used the Spider-Man that everybody knew and loved and, you know, had a really, really good record with everybody and use that Spider-Man instead of just making their own. That probably looks really bad and fits out of place and is only available on one platform.
And plays exactly the same as Black Widow.
I wonder if that could have ever... You know, I mean, hey, we can only dream, right? You know, not everything can happen in this world. You know, I don't want to go too crazy, but yeah, that could have been really something special.
I mean, you know, it's hard as well because Spider-Man, you know, maybe if Spider-Man was a more recent property.
Maybe
you know,
if
they had been working on it at the same time or something like that.
If only there was some movies coming out to sort of show everybody how popular that Spider-Man was, and there was like another game coming out maybe to showcase what Spider-Man could have been like. You know, a next-gen video game made by Insomniac.
What if the Spider-Man they put in Avengers? Like, what? This would be such a fucking dumb move. What if the Spider-Man they end up putting in Avengers is Tom Holland?
You know, it'd be worse.
It's the MCU Spider-Man.
It would be even worse if it was Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire.
Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. No. They don't have the loose cloth physics available for that particular Spider-Man.
Oh dear.
I was just thinking about another answer for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about like a Frostpunk style but cowboys instead, or a Stardew Valley style but cowboys instead? But
Frostpunk
cowboys.
but cowboys.
You could okay. So I feel like you could just do any sort of game except make it cowboys, and I feel like I would be okay with that
Zelda.
personally. That's just Red Dead though. If you just want like an open world cowboy game, that's just Red Dead.
Oh yeah.
Control.
Oh, what?
Cowboys Control.
Quantum Break.
Such a uniquely modern game. I only have one final answer, which is Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5: The Phantom Pain.
First level's the hospital.
Yeah, I really want. It's just Metal Gear 5.
Second level is just the only other level, and it's a fucking desert.
And
you just like and your skateboard just goes.
Yeah, because it's on sand. The wheels aren't gripping anything. The doors start playing.
For some reason, you have a robot arm.
Yeah. Okay, I have one quick question. Yes, but I have one quick question before.
Yes.
For everybody.
Yes.
Your dream property to be made into a Lego game.
I don't care about Lego games.
But what property would make you care about a Lego game? Because those games are good. Like, those are good video games.
They are good. That is rough. Games? Games property?
Yeah.
I don't think I have one.
Should we save this for a different question corner?
We can make another question.
Nah,
corner for
answer
random
it.
I mean, I don't have one. That's what I was thinking. Like, I was thinking, honestly, Little Planet Lego would be really nice. That'd be really cute.
I kind of feel like that's like making a Lego version of a Meccano game. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Then
like
maybe,
it's already like a toy box creation kind of vibe.
I'd also be really down for Horizon Zero Dawn in Lego.
That would be neat. Just seeing all the monsters in Lego, all the dinosaurs.
Also, I'm a fucking dumbass. I want an open world Zoids game.
Oh my god!
Red
I want a
Dead
good
Zero
Zoids
Dawn.
game, full stop.
Slam dunk.
Yeah. Idiot. Fuck cowboys. Who needs them?
Zoids.
I'm gonna clip
That'd be
that.
amazing. Although I think it's only valid for this question if Zoids has been a game in the past. Has there been a Zoids game in the past?
Yeah, there has. There was a GBA game, but it wasn't very good.
Okay,
Apparently.
perfect. We're in.
Apparently.
I could only say Aragon because there was a game for the movie.
You'll want next one night
I'd love it.
question of the week.
Please.
Okay. What is your favorite video game voice actor? Sorry, who is your favorite video game voice actor? I don't think we've done that before. I don't think we've done
No,
that.
we definitely haven't.
Yeah.
I know Jeremy's answer.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Duh. Spoilers.
Jeff Keighley's cameo in Death Stranding.
Did you even get up to that?
No. I should play that game again. I enjoyed that game.
Did you? All right, cool. So it's time to get into the news. You know how like the last like 2-ish months, like we haven't been able to like come in with the news too much when we come in because like it's every 2 or 3 weeks when we do the podcast and sort of everything's out of date or not quite as exciting after it's been a while. This last 2 weeks has been massive, and honestly, it's been the news we've all been waiting for in a number of different ways. Just to throw this one out here so it's out and ready and done, because I do think it is worth mentioning the amount of times we've mentioned it. Super Mario 3D All-Stars was finally announced, was finally revealed. It is coming out, as of recording, it is coming out tomorrow. It includes Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy 1, not 2, only 1, in 1080p. Super Mario 64 is still in a 4:3 aspect ratio, so the standard almost square ratio. Everything else has been improved for a widescreen aspect ratio, although Galaxy did have one. There are a bunch of impressions that have come out in the last hour, like basically when we went to bed last night, impressions started coming out for the game. Basically saying, while the original Mario All-Stars on the SNES was like a celebration of Mario, and it was this like up-resing of all the old games to SNES style and stuff like that, this is just, pardon me, this is just, it seems most people's opinion is that they've just lumped these games together and you can play them. They haven't done anything to them.
So,
and
like,
a lot of people are...
the game is leaked, and people have looked inside the files, and they are just straight up running on emulators.
Right, okay.
That's disappointing.
Yeah. Are you both still going to get it?
Yes.
I've already bought it. Honestly, to have Mario Galaxy in HD, that's that opinion that I was saying. That seems to be the impressions there. Honestly, if this was just Super Mario Galaxy, I would buy it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna just get it for Galaxy. I don't really care that much.
And honestly, I like Super Mario 64. I played it mostly on DS. I was a bit young. Like, Super Mario 64 came out when I was like 1. It was like that game actually came out before Jeremy was born.
Yep.
Like, not actually a young joke anymore. Like, that just actually happened. And I've never played Sunshine properly. I've watched a few speedruns of it in recent years. So I'm excited to play 64. It actually looks kind of nice in 1080p. Like, all the texture quality is rubbish, but there's no blurry N64 like 360i like quality. Like, it's a 1080p image. So all of the UI looks really sharp. There's no aliasing on the corners. Like, it actually looks really nice. So even though it's very blocky and, one of the very first 3D games, that game is still excellent. So
why is it not the DS version?
That game, I don't think that game would scale as well, honestly.
No, but remake it. You're Nintendo. It's Mario's 35th anniversary.
They could have put in more effort.
They put no effort.
I think I would... If they had to pick only one game to just lump in, I would prefer it was the original. And I think people who are around to play the original sound like they prefer it as well. Like, the DS version does have some improvements, but a lot of people didn't like the multiple characters splitting up the power-ups and stuff like that. Anyway.
Do we know why it's a limited release?
Because Nintendo are fucking stupid!
Yeah, the game is only available until March 2021, digitally and physically, which is...
But why?
Mind-blowing. I don't understand.
Do you think that they'll release it for free later? Or they'll bundle it?
Fuck no.
Honestly, I think this is a scarcity thing. I think they're just trying to pump up their quota, honestly.
Because Nintendo, they said, Nintendo said, hey, we're releasing a video game. All right, everybody pull out the big wheel of dumb shit that we have to do to release a video game. So they got their wheel and they span it, and it went around and around and around, and it landed on limited physical and digital release. And they went, okay, that's what we're going to do. Let's ship that.
I feel like
when they
Nintendo
released Mario Maker
better than that.
on the DS, they spanned the wheel and it landed on no online. It's they
have been really good at the Switch has been the generation of remasters, right? Because they had a bunch of games that were locked on the Wii U that no one bought, and so they bundled in all of the extra content. They either put in the DLC for no additional cost and had it all be unlocked for when you start, or even added things like Donkey Kong added that funky mode, which I know wasn't much, but it's not nothing. And then, this isn't that. It is very strange. But like I said, because it's HD Galaxy, I'm in. You've sold me.
They're charging full price for 3 ports. 2 of the games are running on emulators of the old... So someone recently, because there was Nintendo's fucking Giga League, has remade from the ground up Super Mario 64 in Unreal. And it looks great because it's running at 4K 60, right? And it feels great on a new controller. And Nintendo are like, we're just gonna you'll be all right. And then they're doing the limited release with it. And at the same time, they announced that Mario 35 game, which is the Tetris 99 of Mario, and that game has got an expiry date on it. That game is going to exist for 3 months, and then at the end of the 3 months, you're not going to be able to play it anymore. The fuck are they doing?
I really don't know what they're doing. Having the expiry dates on both. Well, not just the Mario 35 game, but having it on this 3D collection, it's asinine, honestly. But maybe they know it's a lackluster collection, and they do just want to make sure it gets numbers on it, and then they're just like, see ya. I don't know. It's not a consumer focused move. It's not great.
Don't get it.
Well, anyway, on with the other news. I'm going to play it. I'm actually going to be streaming it tomorrow, which is going to be today as of the release of this podcast. So if you're listening to this when it comes out, come check out my Twitch. It's /Scotch240. I'm really looking forward to playing Galaxy. So last week, the Xbox Series S leaked heavily. Obviously, it's been leaking for about a month now. With the new controller came out and it said on it compatible with Series X/S, and then Game Pass flyers were saying both were available. So the Series S leaked and then was officially revealed. Xbox's hand was sort of pushed, and then so they showed it. It's this smaller white console. It runs at 1440p up to 120 FPS, whereas the Xbox Series X runs up to 4K, up to 120 FPS. So it's a diskless console. It's not quite as powerful as the X. Basically, it's a very cheap way to get in with this. It's still being touted as better than an Xbox One X. But they also showed the prices. So I'm just going to run Australian prices here. The Xbox Series X is launching at $749. And and the Series S is launching at 500. So the 500 is 2/3 of the price of the Series X. Sorry, yeah, the Series S is 2/3 of the price of the Series X. The consoles are launching on November 10th, which is let me just quickly look at my calendar. November 10th is a Tuesday, which is a bit odd for a console release. And pre-orders go live next week, so they announced it with like a 2-week lead into the pre-order like day and time, so everyone could be like ready and have a fair go.
As opposed to this morning.
As opposed to this morning with PlayStation, yeah. They've also announced when that went live that EA Play, which was previously known as EA Access, or Origin Access, is being included with Game Pass now. So you get access to all of EA's back catalog, 10-hour trials of their new games as they come out, for no additional cost, I'm pretty sure, with all of the offerings that come as a part of Game Pass already, which is a huge value add. Game Pass was already one of the best deals in video game history, and it just got much better. Like, even if you don't enjoy the sports titles, right, you're still looking at the Dragon Age catalog, all of Mass Effect, all Battlefield games,
Battlefront, Titanfall.
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order just came out. Sorry, what did you say, Jeremy?
Battlefront, Titanfall.
Yeah, Titanfall.
All the indie games.
Yeah, like Unraveled. A Way Out was EA, I think.
Yep.
So like it's that's an incredible get for Xbox.
Sims.
Yep. There's so much stuff. There's also Xbox's payment program, which is sort of like it's almost like a lease. It's like you rent it for.
Yeah.
Hang on. So basically, for the Series X, you can pay $46 per month in Australia through Telstra, and that gets you the console and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate.
You also need to have an account with Telstra to do that. An existing account, I mean.
Can't you just make one to then...
I'm pretty sure you need a plan with them currently.
Oh, okay. That's probably for the registered interest to get it like for the first shipment. They'll open that up. They'll open that up when stock becomes more available. So yeah, $46 per month for the X, $33 per month for the S.
Do you own the console at the end of your...
You own the console at the end of the 2 months. You do end up paying more, but because you get Game Pass Ultimate for that time as well, it kind of nets out to about even. So very similar to a phone plan in the end. You do get to keep the console at the end.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's just a line of credit, basically. It's just Afterpay, ZipPay. It's just that.
Yeah. So that was that was last week, and then so the dam finally burst. You know, it started leaking out with the Series S leaks, and then we got the video leaked, and then Xbox had to push it, and then the website went live with all the details. We got the tech specs for the Xbox. So Sony could finally make their move, which they did bright and early this morning. We were up at 6 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, to live react to the conference. What?
Started working at 5.
Yeah, totally.
God.
I'm
very tired.
Did a whole video. Yeah, well, you did a lot of good work yesterday, and we did a good reaction this morning as well. So if you want to
go check it out, because Jeremy did really good work with the overlays and stuff, and I think we're all pretty proud of it. So
yeah,
it'd be neat if you could check it out.
Graphic design is my passion.
So yeah, like I said before, it's on our YouTube account, but I don't think that's very well populated. So just head to our Twitter. That's at MiniMapAU. You'll be able to find the links to it there. So yeah, if you want to watch the trailers or just see our reactions to it, we also do a bit of a post-game analysis of what we saw at the time. So yeah, if you want our first blush reactions to everything, that's the best place to find it. We're not going to go too deep into our reactions on what we thought of the showcase. The rest of this episode is going to be mostly focused on PS5 versus Xbox, how we think they're going to go at launch. But let's get into the Sony details now. So just to recap, Series X for Xbox was $749. Series S was $500. Okay, so those are the two options, $750 and $500. For the PS5 showcase, we got the price and date, and a bunch of games were shown as well. So it's actually a really good showcase.
Yep.
The The PS5 with the disc edition is $749, so the exact same price as the Xbox Series X. The PS5 digital edition, so that's just basically the exact same console, no disc drive, is $599 Australian, so minus $150. That puts it between the price points for the Series X and the PS5 and the Series S. So it's not quite as budget as the Series S. That's because it's as powerful as the standard PS5 with the disc version, whereas the Series S is a less powerful version of the X. They also revealed a couple of extra things in terms of their subscription offerings. So for PlayStation Plus, they announced the PS Plus Collection, which is coming at no additional cost to the subscription by the looks of things. So far as we can tell, they announced 14 PS4 games are going to be available at launch to play for all PlayStation Plus subscribers to be played on PS5, I'm pretty sure.
And they're good games too.
Yeah, they're good games. I've just got the list here, so I'll read them out. It's Batman Arkham Knight, Battlefield 1, Bloodborne, Days Gone, Detroit, Fallout 4, God of War 2018, the new one, Infamous Second Son, The Last Guardian, Monster Hunter World, Mortal Kombat 10, X, 10, 10. Ratchet and Clank 2016, the movie, the game, the movie. No, the game, the movie, the game. Uncharted 4, and Until Dawn. So, like, it's not the, like, 150 games of Game Pass, but all of those games are really meaty. Like, Battlefield 1's got its whole multiplayer suite. Bloodborne's huge. Days Gone's a massive open world game. Fallout's huge. God of War, a great single player
hours and
story.
hours and hours and hours and hours of gameplay.
Like, even if they just gave you Monster Hunter World, right? And if you're the person who gets sucked into that, that is like 300 hours gone.
Yeah.
Or 2.
Do we know if it's going to be part of PlayStation Plus? Is PlayStation Plus going to be more expensive now, or do you think it's going to be same as it normally is, just with this extra?
So I grabbed that list from Polygon. The PS Plus collection will be an added benefit to the existing PS4 benefits that PS Plus members receive for a single subscription price.
I think this is them making the case for it to be more enticing to people, because like there's the forever rumor that Microsoft are going to stop charging for Xbox Live and they're just going to start charging for Game Pass Ultimate as a service. So online play is going to be free on Xbox. Like, that's not confirmed. That's just the rumor that's floating around.
They kind of went back and denied that a bit.
Yeah, but the people who still think it's true, like Jeff Grubb, is like, I still think it's happening.
Okay.
I think this is PlayStation making the case for PlayStation Plus. I don't think they're going to increase the price yet. They will at some point, but I think this is more of them trying to get people to buy PlayStation Plus, because they're probably looking at Xbox going like, well, I don't really need PlayStation Plus because all it does is give me online and a good game every 8 months.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great way to have that back catalog. Like, if someone's been waiting for a PS4 or waiting for a PS5 and not jumping on the PS4 bandwagon, it's a great way to just have a library of games that you can use on your PS5 for not too much extra outlay. Like, I think it's a good way to go. So long as they keep adding to it. Days Gone is in there, which is a relatively recent game, but they can afford to put that in there because it didn't perform that well, right? Spider-Man isn't in there. God of War is, which is another big one. That's a big one.
Spider-Man's not in there because they're going to sell you the collection.
Yeah, that's a good point. So the release date. The console is releasing November 12th. That is 2 days after the Xboxes. And the pre-orders are live right now. They were live 1 hour after the conference went live. The disc edition has the first shipment has already pre-sold out on EB Games. The other sites are sort of scrambling. It seems like EB Games had the drop on that one.
Basically, if you're hearing this now, it's too late.
Yeah, both versions, discless and disc, both versions are pre-sold out for day one copies from EB Games. I imagine other retailers it's gonna be very patchy. So
you both snatched up copies though, right?
Jeremy and I did. Yeah, we were sitting here working for the doc, having some breakfast after the reactions, and it was interesting because after the conference they announced that Miles Morales for Spider-Man was coming to PS4 as well as PS5. I was like, oh well, I don't need to get a PS5. And then
You're a sucker, Kerry.
I am a sucker. It turns out all the shit I've given Jeremy over the last 2 years, I have no hill to stand on. I have no ground to die on.
Ain't worth diddly squat.
I hit that button so fast. I don't mind doing that. I'm in a unique position for myself where this is the first console launch where I'm actually able to afford it. So I kind of just don't mind that for myself. I feel like that's kind of a nice thing to do for myself, and I'm probably not going to do it again. But yeah, either way, yeah.
You're going to buy that 4K Switch the fucking moment it gets announced, my friend.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you are.
I don't have a 4K monitor.
Yeah, but
I don't have a 4K anything.
You any way to get a few more pixels out of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and you will do it.
Only if Breath of the Wild 2 runs like crap on the original Switch, I think.
Which it will.
Yeah, and then I'll probably get it 20% off in 8 months, which is like what I did with the original Switch, and that was for Breath of the Wild. So yeah, 2 days after the Xbox showcase, the Xbox launch, 2 days, the PS5, both editions are coming out. That is to be noted, that is only in some regions that it is coming out. So that was like US, Canada, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, I think, a few others. And then in the conference, it was really funny. It was like November 12th, like select places that I mentioned and a few others. And then it said November 19th, rest of the world. I'm like, whoa, how burned would you feel if you were like lumped in with that? Like, you get the seconds. So yeah, like I was saying, there were a few games that were announced at the showcase, so we'll just go over them briefly. These are mostly interesting game announcements or releasing in a way that poses questions for the Sony launch in general. So, like I was saying before, Miles Morales is a launch day game. It is a cheaper... It's a less than full price game. And it is coming to PS4 as well as PS5. They are coming out with the Spider-Man Ultimate Edition, which is a full-price game for PS5, which raises the question of whether Spider-Man is backwards compatible or not, whether you have the PS4 copy of the game, if you can use that in PS5 to get the PS5 version. I hope so, but
they're probably just going to do the
details.
They're just going to do the PS4 enhanced version running on PS5. I'm
Maybe.
assuming.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cheap way to get it if you don't already have it. Hopefully, it's not this is the best way to play the original Spider-Man. Hopefully it's get it together if you don't have it already, but if you have the original, you can play that and then just get Miles separately. Hopefully, but I wouldn't be surprised if it went either way, honestly. We got the first reveal for Final Fantasy 16, which was...
June's face.
This was a weird trailer, and a bit of a surprise. So I'll just go through the details here. They showed PC gameplay. It wasn't captured on PS5. It was the only thing not showing PS5 gameplay. It's directed by Hiroshi Takai, who is the Final Fantasy 11 and 14 director, who I was saying in our stream is sort of like the guy who's responsible for saving the crash of the Titanic that was the original Final Fantasy 14, right? Like, that is that director, right?
Probably.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I'm assuming, yeah. Like, I saw Daniel Dyer tweet about it and link to his Final Fantasy docs. I'm just going to assume yes.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm not sure. Looking at this...
I know that the producer for...
It's the producer,
it's
yes.
the same producer from 14, yes, definitely. But I'm not sure about the...
Oh, yeah. Hiroshi Nakai is not the same guy I'm thinking of who sort of righted Final Fantasy 14. That looks like the producer.
Yeah.
So yeah, the producer is the guy who sort of righted Final Fantasy 14, and then the director is someone who worked on 11 and 14 as well. So that's coming in 2021, apparently, not in 2029.
Do you think it'll be pushed back?
Pardon?
Do you think it'll be pushed back?
I reckon. I mean, they just came out with 7 this year.
Yeah.
And they're still working on the rest of 7. And given how well it did this year, I'm sure they're going to focus on it. I think we were all very cold on this game. The trailer looked very uninspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't tell if it was Final Fantasy 14 or not.
Yeah. it's set in a pure fantasy setting, so there's no steampunk, there's no cyberpunk. It's just fantasy. But I think what didn't thrill me so much about it was that it was like so drab. You know, there was no color in this presentation. So when you compare it to the stellar launch of Final Fantasy VII earlier this year, I think it was a bit of a letdown. I'm as always, I'm going to hold my opinion until I get my hands on it, but or until other people get their hands on it at least. But
I'm curious to see what the story's like, because apparently the story in 14 is really, 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 really good.
I've heard that.
If they do the same, if it's the same style-ish, then maybe the story will be the thing that holds it up.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Couple of other things here. They also showed off gameplay for Demon's Souls, the remake from Bluepoint. That is also going to be a launch title, day and date.
Someone told me that that's been taken off. The trailer's been taken down.
I think it was to
really?
remove the PC little heading in it.
I see.
That's what I...
So it's not on PC?
It is, but I think they don't want to advertise that.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So that game is a full-price game on EB Games' website for $124.95. Which is steep. It's hugely steep. And if that's the price of a full-price Sony Studios, PlayStation Studios rather, title, like I imagine that's what the Ultimate Spider-Man Edition would be, like $125. That's what the new God of War would be, New Horizon. Like that is a steep markup. It's time that games got more expensive because like.
No, it's not.
What do you think?
I think it is because they've been $60 US. They've been $100 here since the N64.
Yeah, but the money's not going to the people that are making the games. It's going to the shareholders and the stockholders and the people who are running, like the CEOs with their fucking multi-million dollar fucking Christmas bonuses. It doesn't go to the people that make the games.
That's a good point.
What do you think? The net price would be like. What do you think JB Hi-Fi is going to sell it for if it's doing it for 120? I think it'll be 100.
I think it'll be 80.
80?
Well, no, sorry, 90.
Surely not.
89 is what I meant. I don't think they can. I don't think they're going to do a full.
That's
100.
only an extra 100. That's only an extra $10 than what they do in games now for.
Yeah, I know. I don't think 125 is going to be the default price for Sony games.
Okay, I mean, I hope not. It is a very steep markup from the 100 that we're used to at the moment. This was the trailer that blew me away the most. I thought the graphics looked incredible. It seems to me that this is the game that is made for PS5, whereas Miles Morales was like sort of a semi-port of a PS4 game that's like a half step to the next one. This looks from the ground up made for the PS5. It looks so good. Like, I cannot understate how impressed I was by the gameplay footage of this. So yeah, if you're a graphics nerd, like load that up in 4K or whatever the highest thing is you can look at your monitors and just pour over that one because that was really impressive. At the end of the showcase, they announced God of War Ragnarok with 2 sentences from Kratos and a title treatment. Not much, but it's there. Also with the 2021 date. Could get pushed back, who knows. And then, yeah, just to go sort of off the prices we were talking about before, I also had a look at EB's website. Call of Duty is releasing at $119.95, so $5 cheaper than Demon's Souls. Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Watch Dogs Legion are releasing at $99.95, so standard price for what we're receiving now.
Yeah. And I just want to quickly add that when I said games shouldn't be more expensive, I was specifically talking about AAA. I was not talking about independent games and smaller studios.
Yeah.
Just want to make that very clear.
The money not going to the actual developers is a good point.
Yeah.
Like when you assume they go up in price, it's easy to have the good faith, have the optimistic viewpoint that people who make it get more money, but maybe not. So yeah, prices for the games are all over the place. The peripherals seem to be a good price. I think the DualSense is $110 at EB, which is fine. The media remote is $50 though. The charging station's $50. Headset's $160. So all standard, normal, I think.
Yeah.
They're not.
I think it's 120 for the camera or something.
I think it was just 100.
Oh right, okay.
Just $99.95. Obviously, probably be cheaper at other retailers. It's just EB's, like the MSRP. And then what's this here, Jeremy? At the bottom of the document here.
Yeah, so there was an interview with Jim Ryan, what is he? Is he the head or the chairman, or he's the head of PlayStation?
President of PlayStation, I think. Yeah.
Where he is quoted here saying that 99% of PlayStation 4 games can be played on the next console.
Oh, interesting.
They have tested 1,000. Sorry, that the thousands of games tested for the PlayStation 4 backwards compatibility, 99% can be played on the next console. So this
also says here that PS Plus collection will include 18 PS4 first-party titles, which is 4 more than the ones I read out. So there'll be a few more in there that I didn't read out.
This is from the Washington Post. This lends to what I believe was what I was under the impression, which is the case, which is games will work out of the box on the PS4, but not all of them are tested to work.
Do you mean on the PS5? Sorry, you said PS4.
Sorry, yes. Sorry, PS4 games on the PS5 will run, but there are a bunch of games that have been tested and made to work on the PS5, but they're not going to go back through every game, especially some games is just discontinued. Imagine going back to MLB The Show 15 or something like that, right? EA's not going to go back and fix all the FIFAs they've released on PS4, for example. So yeah, not every single game will work, but the impression I had was that theoretically most of them should just be fine. Just emulating PS4 basically. That was Mark certainly spoke about it as well when they did the initial reveal. They spoke about PS4 emulation.
I was under the impression that PS5 was only going to offer a number of games at launch, 100 games at launch, I think they said, and they were going to offer more afterwards.
But
this is sounding much more comprehensive than that. Yeah. So I just kind of want to get everyone's impressions here. How do we feel generally about how the PS5 is looking to release in terms of its launch lineup and its pricing?
June, you want to go first?
Yeah, I don't think I have. I mean, I think my personal opinion on it is a little bit different because I don't really care too much about any of the launch titles for it. I think that it's expensive, but I think that that's how the world works. And I don't know. I think I'm really interested about the backwards compatibility. I think that's probably going to be the biggest selling point for me personally. But apart from that, I don't know when I'm going to get it because the only game I really care about at the moment is Spider-Man. If that's going to be on PS4 anyway, then I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you've got a Pro as well.
Yeah.
I'm keen for the 5 right now because I'm still on a base version, right? And so it's kind of like a 2-step upgrade for me. But yeah, if you've got the Pro and the PS4 version will work in your PS5 whenever you get it, it's hard to stump to get it right out of the gate, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll get it eventually, definitely. But at the moment, not very interested in it. I want it because everyone else is getting it.
I know what you mean. Jeremy, how do you feel about it?
I mean, I'm sort of on the other end of that spectrum of I am Sony's ideal customer. I'm checking every 3 days about what new TV I'm going to buy, which is going to be a 4K 60 hertz, 4K 120 hertz TV with a fucking HDMI 2.1 input, right? Because I don't know, because I don't really spend my money on anything else. Because I don't plan on ever owning property or a vehicle.
I don't know.
Yeah. And this is someone who already has a 4K TV. So I mean, I was always going to get it at launch. I'm going to get the Xbox on launch as well. I think I am surprised. I'm pleasantly surprised that both Miles and Demon Souls are launch games. Both those games always interest me, and them coming out day one is like a pretty good get. There aren't a whole lot of kid-friendly games on the console when it comes out. This reminds me of the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. In that regard, that I was like, hey, like there's like the kid game that you could get, and I guess for this it would be Spider-Man, and that Battle All Stars game.
Even Spider-Man's
sort of
a
like-
bit.
Yeah, like even for, for a young kid, I wouldn't probably get. I think you should be 10 plus to get Spider-Man, right?
No
Were
way.
there any child-friendly games in that list of the PS4 ones?
Well, so like theoretically,
remember.
there's most of them, right? Like, because it's most of the.
No,
backwards...
but in terms of the PS Plus titles, right?
Oh,
Like,
right.
Yeah.
looking at it here, Last
really.
Guardian maybe, Ratchet and Clank,
Ratchet and Clank would be the
Yeah,
one.
Ratchet and Clank.
Monster Hunter World maybe,
No.
but like that's very obtuse. Like it's
too
a very
many
mature
menus for a
mechanical
kid.
game.
Yeah.
Until
Yeah,
Dawn.
exactly. Everything else is
Yeah.
like Uncharted, Until Dawn,
God of
Monster
War.
Hunter, Fallout, Detroit, Days Gone.
Yeah.
No, that's maybe Batman, but that's another like 10 to 12 starting range.
Yeah.
Astro's
Interesting.
Playroom is in the console when it's pre-installed,
Yes.
and Sackboy is a day one launch as well. So
Okay.
there is an option, but
Yeah.
yes, you're right. It is a more mature focused lineup.
And I think that's fine for now anyway, because the stock is super limited for the console. It's already sold, like one of the consoles already sold out EEB, and it's only been 3 hours. And
Both of them.
But they both have already sold out. Okay, well there you go.
Yep.
There have been so many reports about low stock forever. Sony said it's not as low as you think, but we're already selling out. So and plus it's still a premium price. This isn't like currently this is not going to be for the parents that are buying it for their kids this Christmas. What parents are going to give for their kids this Christmas is a promise that they're going to get the PlayStation 4 at some point, the PlayStation 5 at some point, but probably wait until it gets cheaper as well anyway. I think that it's...
You don't think there'll be a second shipment by Christmas?
There might be, but I mean, like, to me, that still falls into the parents telling children that you'll get it at some point.
Yeah.
I think that it's weird. I think these are more accessible consoles in the fact that, like, say you traded in your PlayStation 4 to get a PlayStation 5, you don't have to get rid of all these games that you now can't play. You can still play them forward onwards, and that's a huge thing. I'm not gonna have what I did when I first got my PS4, which was I played the games that I got when I got it, and then I went back to my PS3 for a little bit because I didn't have any more games on that console just yet. Basically until Destiny came out the next year. So that is a point in both of the consoles' favor that going forward you have already an entire generation's library of games at your disposal. The Xbox more than that. So I think it's going to be like it's both more and less of a reason to upgrade, right? Because and that's the future of consoles. It's upgrade when you want. Sony are still playing the Generations game, and yet both Horizon Forbidden Wilds or whatever it is, Forbidden West, PlayStation Miles Morales, they're both coming to PS4. Demon Souls coming to PC. Like, they say we believe in Generations, except what they really mean is we know you're going to buy this at some point. Please buy it sooner, but we know you're going to buy this at some point. Whereas Xbox are probably going to release an iteration to the Xbox Series in 2 years. It's not going to be a huge difference. They're not going to do big differences. They're going to just be the iPhone of the gaming world, and eventually they will have to start to lock off older generations of consoles. How they handle that, we'll see. But at some point, they're going to have to do that. Not every game going forward is going to be able to support the Xbox One original. I don't know.
So-
I got my pre-order in.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I guess the question is, like, something I remarked on at the end of our reaction was that this is the first time that I know of that consoles are not only coming out around the same time, but they're also coming out around the same price point and with a similar amount of good faith behind them, I think. And because in the last generation, while the two consoles came out around the same time, PS4 dramatically undercut the Xbox One, which had such a PR disaster that fight was already won before either of those consoles launched. So this is like, I feel like the consoles have stepped up. You know what I mean? Like they've both stepped up to the plate. They're both ready to fight for their share of the market this time around. And there's no, I don't see a dividing line at the start of this generation in the same way you can point back to the last generations and be like, that was great, that was bad, that was good, you know? I think we're looking at a very competitive market, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Well, Xbox have made up whatever ground they lost, and then some, with Game Pass, the commitments they have made to Windows gaming, and the accessibility in terms of the different Xbox models, the different entryways to get into their ecosystem. That's all they needed. Whereas PlayStation are sort of still doing the same playbook of like, we got some games, we're just going to hit play on the trailer and just sit back and relax a little bit. You can tell that they are feeling they're feeling a little bit of pressure because they had to make an announcement about a service, which was the PlayStation Plus. If Xbox had fumbled it again, we wouldn't have got this. This is a response to Xbox's PR, impressive PR over the past 4 years. And I think, I mean, it's hard because whatever ideas they had for these launches got thrown out the window because of the year. But I think that PlayStation might be a little bit not quite ready for what was happening with this. I think going back, knowing what they know now, I think they would have done this differently. But they had to they accidentally committed to a playbook that they could have come out stronger. I mean, you know, the way they first showed off that console was Mark Cerny talking for an hour and 20 minutes. So, I think that was a bad move, and I think that they didn't initially plan that move. But turns out that's what ended up happening.
Totally. And it's worth mentioning as well, we're in a COVID era.
Yeah,
you know?
Of course.
Everyone's plans have been turned upside down and shaken until everything fell out, you know? However this year was going to look 12 months ago is dramatically different to how it has turned out. I have no doubt. But yeah, I think my biggest surprise here is that there was no doubling down on PlayStation's side for PlayStation Now, for their streaming service. I was expecting a revamp or even just a slight injection of older games, older impressive games. You know, I know recently they added for a time Uncharted and God of War and stuff like that. But if they said all of our titles up to the end of 2019, say, are available on PlayStation Now, on PS5, you can download them maybe, or you stream them, something, you know, something to directly compete with Game Pass. What they have instead, it's almost this competing service, you know, like with PS Plus Collection. What answer is there for, what reason is there to get PlayStation Now if you can't play the games online without a PlayStation Plus subscription in the first place? And there are newer games that you get access to for who knows how long, maybe for the duration of the entire console, whereas PS Now, they cycle in and out all the time. There's harder hitting games in PS Plus Collection, and so now PS Now is going to look like more like older games that are no longer relevant, or newer games that you can play better by just getting PS Plus and downloading it straight to your system anyway. I feel like they're really undercutting themselves. So unless PS Plus Collection dramatically ramps up its number of titles, and becomes a directly better service, I feel like they're just eating away at their own market a little bit. And meanwhile, neither offering is better than Game Pass.
Yeah, because Game Pass have said, you know, every first-party Microsoft game will come to Game Pass day one. PlayStation are never going to make that commitment.
No, they won't. Do either of you see a winner at, say, by the end of Christmas, by the end of the year? Do either of you see an out and out winner of the launch window?
I don't think they're competing. Like, they are, but they're not. There's no, like, they don't compete with each other directly anymore. They compete with each other adjacently. They are
right.
Like they're
like in parallel, but like
yeah, they both exist at the same time in different forms. To the point where there's not going to be anyone that's going to be outright winner. Microsoft have still got xCloud, right? Like that competition is an entirely different ball game altogether. And over the next,
also bundled in with Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah, and for the next 2 years, that's going to be the real like killer for that console. Because you can continue playing your game on your phone, which is bonkers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to ask, and we'll wrap up soon, but I just want to ask a couple more questions, June. Were you at all impressed by the Xbox lineup at all for the X and the S in terms of performance or price or offerings in games?
Not really. I've never really been an Xbox person, so I don't really gravitate that direction. I would be interested in it so I could play Game Pass on the couch, but that's really it, I suppose. And I already have Game Pass on the computer, so it's not really I don't know.
Totally.
Nothing really grabs me about it, to be honest.
It boils down to a very similar position for me as well. Like, I could play Sea of Thieves, Grounded, State of Decay, almost all of the Halo games.
Yeah.
I could play basically anything that I need to from Xbox's lineup on my PC, and that's a win for them, right? You're in with Game Pass. You probably don't cancel the subscription. It's cheaper on PC, so you just kind of let that go, right? I know I have.
Yeah.
Can I make a prediction?
What?
Xbox's next product is going to be Stadia. It's going to be a thing you plug into the TV that connects to an Xbox controller, and you're going to have Game Pass and xCloud as your gaming thing. It's not going to do any processing. It's just going to be the video transcoder to get into that system. And just
like a $100 device or less.
It'll be more because it'll bundle with a controller. But it'll be $130, and you can play Game Pass games flawlessly as long as you got good internet. I think that's next for that company.
Because that xCloud is promising, but one, it's not available for us, and two, like, if you are playing it on your phone, you need a massive data cap, like, absolutely gigantic. So, yeah, something like that. It's not a bad point, and that directly addresses the issue you were having, June, with like the one reason why you'd want that.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, I think you're right, Jeremy. I think they are fighting different fights. I'm so fascinated to see how PlayStation is going to continue to react to Xbox, who is trying to redefine the industry in lots of different ways.
It's been really interesting to see the dynamic switch, though, and how they both deal with it in the last couple of years. But especially, I guess it's really come out this year with the new launch.
There's that one adage that Jared Petty, who used to be on a lot of kind of funny content, used to talk about. And he was like, if you look back at every console launch throughout the gaming industry, throughout its lineage, there has never been someone who has like won a generation and then continued to win the next one. It's always flip-flopped. It's always been success followed by hubris and failure, followed by a redemption, or like maybe not even a redemption. Like Sega fell out of the console market and now just a publisher. Like
I guess because they try so hard to, I guess specifically with Xbox and PlayStation, they try so hard to get better to make up for that, and then they just knock it out of the park.
Totally.
I will say it did happen once. The PS1 to the PS2.
That is a good point. Yeah, because the N64 didn't really sell that well in comparison to the PS1. And the PS2 was dynamite.
And PS2 also sold movies. Also, played movies, rather.
Yeah. I was like, you buy tickets on PS2? So yeah, I'm so glad we finally know the price, and I'm looking forward to digesting all this information over the next couple of days and sort of really sitting with it. And I think the other thing is, like, everyone's been quiet. Everyone's been waiting. No one could talk about their release dates, their prices, like when their next games are coming out, because they would be giving up the launch date of the console. So they were basically embargoed by their platforms they're releasing on. I'm excited to see what the third-party offering for the rest of the year is going to look like now that the floodgates are well and truly wide open. Like, the dam is burst. Wait, here, next generation is coming.
I've just seen a
Two things about the showcase that I wanted to touch on is the fact that we really didn't see any non-AAA titles, right? Apart from in that tiny trailer at the end.
Yeah, just in that last hype cut together.
There was no women.
Nope.
No.
I think there was a couple in the Final Fantasy one, but
but not playable.
Yeah.
Yeah, maternal figures only, I think.
I mean, that's PlayStation's fucking MO, isn't it?
Yeah. Miles' mum, but I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
And then God of War, didn't have a good history with that. I think they turned their only interesting female character, like their woman lead character in that game, into a villain by the end of it. Not a villain, but like someone who's like not interested in helping Kratos. So
I'm surprised we didn't see any more Horizon.
Yeah, I was going to say the Horizon, but they didn't show that at the showcase. So
yeah, just old trailer footage. I'm mostly surprised that we got a release year for God of War and no Horizon.
Yeah.
That's what's wild to me. They had a cinematic trailer for Horizon 3 months ago, and then we got next to nothing for God of War but a release window. What?
Yeah. Going back to that pre-order conversation, just really quick, someone has tweeted, GameStop is blocking people from entering the site because of the traffic being overwhelming. That means the game is stopped. GameStop has been GameStop, but it stopped.
Oh, that's pretty good. The you can still pre-order the console at EB's site. It is for post-launch. Now it's PlayStation 5 console post-launch (expected 2020). So I imagine it'd probably be a month after, probably just before Christmas is this second shipment, it sounds like.
That's going to be really fun.
I've refreshed the page that says pre-sold out. Digital edition is available.
Hey, there's more consoles. And they're gone.
My bad. But yeah, that second shipment is before the end of 2020. But yeah, the digital console is still available. Who knows when this goes live if that will still be possible. Who knows? JB's site is really interesting. Like EB had this whole thing. Like 1 hour after the conference, a timer countdown turned up, and you didn't have to refresh the page. It just gave you the pre-order button. You know, you normally have to like refreshing, and then the site gets slammed, and then you can't access anything. Like, this was really smooth. And you look at JB, who is struggling to get a pre-order page together. Their price for the PS5 at the moment just says $50 because they don't have like a proper like price or a document page or anything like that. And even then, it goes this like priority queue, and you have to like answer a phone call to pay the rest at a later date. It's this like really weird thing.
It's good to see EB pulling ahead a little bit in that regard, I think.
Yeah.
But
so yeah, that's the big news of the year. It's finally out here. It's been, I'd say it's 3.5 months late compared to what we expected at the start of the year.
Shit, yeah.
And it's less than 2 months before the consoles actually come out. It's wild. But anyway, I get to play Super Mario Galaxy in HD tomorrow, and I'm really happy about it.
Oh, the future is here. I get to play Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
I'm not happy that I'll probably play that with the Joy-Con, so I can use the motion control to do the thing, because
I'm
my
excited
right
about
Joy-Con's
that.
got drift on it now. So
okay, never mind.
maybe I'll invest in some isopropyl, whatever I need, the alcohol that's meant to like clean the thing under the thing. Anyway,
Invest in some scotch.
Let's let's wrap this up. Thank you so much for listening. And if you managed to also if you managed to also watch the VOD for the reaction stream we did as well, thank you so much for that as well. We had a great time doing it. Jeremy knocked it out of the park putting all those together in the last couple of days. So yeah, I got a really nice energy heading into this launch. And I don't know, I've just really enjoyed this morning of content that we've made. So if you've enjoyed it as well, you can find more of our stuff on minimap.com.au. You can support us as well on patreon.com/minimapau. Normally we put things up there like audio outtakes and stuff like that. And yeah, you can also find everything we're doing on Twitter. So the Minimap account is @minimapau. Jeremy, what's your Twitter?
@Obi1Jez.
June, what is your Twitter?
Junez, JUN_ESS.
And my Twitter is @KJPalmer_24. I had to think about that for a second. But yeah, that's basically it. Stay tuned to our Twitters. In lockdown, we've been a bit more active recently, I'd say. Jeremy and I are streaming a lot more, so if you're interested in hearing more from us and doing more from us, Twitter's the best place to do it. Make sure you're following. And aside from that, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. I don't think there'll be this megaton news announcements then, but who knows? I've been wrong before.
Stadia
but until
2.
then, we'll see you next time. Stadia 2? Oh my god, please no.
They're making a sequel.
We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.